What's up, YouTube? Tim Moose here. Now, here is my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turns 10, 20, and 30 this week. Now, the films celebrating their 10th anniversary. Wow, this is a crazy one. We of course got Frozen. Now, of course, this was pretty much at the time was Disney's 53rd, and I kid you not, 53rd Disney animated film. It was inspired by Hans Christian Andersen's 1844 fairy tale, The Snow Queen. Now, of course, you guys don't know much about the story here. Princess Anna, the film tells the story of Princess Anna as she teams up with an Iceman, his reindeer, and a snowman to find her strange sister Elsa, whose icy powers have trapped their kingdom in turning winter. Of course, you got Adina Menzel voicing Elsa, Kristen Bell as Anna. I was really surprised of how good the original Frozen was. Like I remember when it first came out, I looked like it could be okay and everything. I was blown away by it. I thought the visuals was stunning. The music. I mean, boy, throughout the whole year, I always kept hearing that "Let It Go" song tons of times. And it's a great one. Of course, it won best original song and all. I mean, one natural. I believe Frozen also won best animated feature, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there, but yeah, Frozen is just magnificent. Of course, there was a sequel, which was just as good. There is still talks about part 3 and 4 coming, so we're gonna be getting more Frozen in the near future. So yeah, and of course Josh Gad as Olaf. I mean, since then besides Frozen 2, we've also had like Olaf shorts and also yeah, who just doesn't love Frozen? Come on. All right, now other films turning 10 this week. Now last week I talked about the original film, but the film turning 10 this week is the remake, and that is Spike Lee's Oldboy remake. This is a remake of Park Chan Wook's South Korean film. This was, of course, directed by Spike Lee, starring Josh Brolin, Sam Jackson, Elizabeth Olsen, Shota Copley. And because I know much about the story of this, it follows a man who searches for his captors after being mysteriously imprisoned for 20 years. And lots of people did not really like the remake of Oh Boy. I'm one of the refugees to that mind. I thought Josh Brolin was pretty cool, and us Sam Jackson. I mean, if you want to see like Thanos and Scarlet Witch, let's say just have some fun for each other, this is definitely it. But yeah, I mean, obviously I understand why people didn't like it because people pretty much cherish the original and they did not like really flock to see this one. I mean, it's also interesting because the movie does not even look like a Spike Lee film either. Like I would expect like just from the trails, it literally looked like it could easily been a Robert Rodriguez or a Quentin Tarantino film. Like this definitely at the time really did not feel like a Spike Lee flag. Like whenever you think of Spike Lee, you always think of some iconic stuff like Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X. But something like about this never really felt like a Spike Lee film, like or as he calls it, Spike Lee joint. But yeah, it's not really a bad film though. So anyway, all right. Other films turning 10, we got the Jason Statham movie Homefront. Now I remember having a double feature of this and Frozen, which you know, s- seeing both like a Jason Statham action movie on the same day as a Disney anime film, interesting double feature. Now, Homefront is directed by Gary Fedler, who's directed movies such as Runaway Jerry, Don't Say a Word. He's put out some really cool stuff before. This, of course, stars Jason Statham, James Franco, Winona Ryder, Clancy Brown, Frank Grillo, Kate Bosworth. If you guys don't know much about the story here, hoping to escape from his troubled past, former DEA agent Phil Broker, played by Jason Statham, moves to a seemingly quiet backwater town in the bayou with his daughter, played by Isabella Vidovec, who you might remember from who's actually appeared on the show The Fosters before. But anyway, he of course finds anything but quiet. But Broker is forced back into action to save his daughter and their home. This is actually based on a book here, and James Franco actually like plays the bad guy in this. This movie is actually lots of fun. Jason Statham really is playing Jason Statham here. His chemistry with his daughter I thought was great. It's not like Jason Statham's best work, nothing like that, but this movie actually had lots of fun to it, and a really decent little drill if you guys ever seen it. All right, also trending 10, we got a film simply titled Black Nativity. Now, this movie is directed by Casey Lemons, who would go on to direct the Harriet Tubman film Harriet, and I believe she also did yeah, I believe she also directed the recent Whitney I think she did the Whitney Houston biopic just recent. But of course, this is actually a music based drama that stars Forrest Whitaker, Angela Bassett, Tyrese Gibson, Jennifer Hudson, Mary J. Blige, Jacob Lattimore, and rapper Nas. If you guys know much about this, it is a musical film starring Jacob Lattimore, of course, who's best known for the Chai fame, who's a Baltimore teen raised by a single mother played by Jennifer Hudson, who travels to New York City to spend the holiday with his estranged relatives, the Rev Cardinal Cobbs, played by Forrest Whitaker, and his wife Aretha, played by Angela Bassett. However, Langston soon finds that Cobbs has strict rules, and the youth is unwilling to follow them. Instead, he sets out on a return journey to his mother and find his faith, healing, and family along the way. You also had like Tyrese was also in this. It's actually a really nice little musical. Of course, this is a Christmas musical film. Great performances by Jacob Lattimore, which I this was actually my first exposure to him. Of course, he went to appear in like The Maze Runner, The Chai. He's great in. He was just in the not so good House Party remake, and he was in Netflix's Texas Chainsaw film. I think he's a really terrific actor. It's a shame that he hasn't really broke it out into other stuff anymore. But he was actually pretty solid in this one. Of course, it was cool seeing Nas popping up. Forrest Whitaker. I mean, whoever knew that Forrest Whitaker could sing so well. Angela Bassett was great in this. Really good flick if you guys haven't seen that one. Also, Train 10, we got Mandela: A Long Walk to Freedom. Now, this movie actually came out. I believe it actually came out like a couple of months after the passing of Nelson Mandela. Now, this film, stars Idris Elba, who plays the role of Nelson Mandela, and it is based on South African President Nelson Mandela's autobiography of the same name, which chronicles his early coming-of-age education and 27 years in prison before being president of South Africa and working to rebuild the country, which was ravaged by apartheid. And of course, you had like Naomi Harris was also in this. Believe it or not, there was actually like not one but two Nelson Mandela movies that came out in the same year. There was like a movie called Winnie, which had Jennifer Hudson and Terrence Howard, and there was of course this. You can take guess which one's the better one. Yeah, this was definitely the better one here. But yeah, of course, Idris Elba I thought was really terrific as Nelson. Like he really embodied Nelson perfectly. Of course, before this, the other person who played Nelson was Morgan Freeman. Well, he wasn't as good as Morgan Freeman was in Invincible. He just really played the part really well, and I thought he. It's a shame that he did not even get an Oscar nomination for this, but hey, it's a really decent film if you guys have seen it. All right, also turning 20, we of course got Christmas time is here, so we got Bad Santa. Now, of course, directed by Terry Zogwart, starring Billy Bob Thornton, Tony Cox, the late great actors John Ritter and Bernie Mac, Lauren Graham. Now, of course, you guys don't know much about the story. Does you have Billy Bob Thornton who plays Willie and his partner Marcus, played by Tony Cox, who reunite once a year for a holiday con, posing as a Morissette and his elf, and then of course rip off outlets on Christmas Eve. And so of course you have Willie who ends up I guess say befriending with this kid Dermot Merman, and their chemistry is great. I mean, Bad Santa is definitely one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. I adore it. It is just so raunchy. I mean, There was there was actually a time where there wasn't really many like adult Christmas films, and seeing like them actually give one here was intriguing. Billy Bob Thornton, just definitely one of the best on-screen Santas of all time. His on-screen chemistry with Tony Cox as Marcus I love Tony Cox in this. Like one of the hardest laughs I've had was when Tony Cox and Bernie Mac was going back and forth with each other. I'm not going to repeat some of the lines, but yeah, I mean this movie has lots of fun laughs to it. It's definitely in my top 10, my not only my top 10, maybe my top 5 favorite Christmas movies of all time. And I watch this almost every year. It's just it's just a timeless classic, and of course they did do Bad Santa 2, which not as good as the first film, but I still had a fun time with the second one. But yeah, if for some ever reason you never watched Bad Santa, and you can find it, I believe you can find it on like a Pluto TV, and go watch Bad Santa. It's a hoot. All right. Also turning 20, we got the Haunted Mansion. Not to be confused with the recent one we just had. This is of course the one with Eddie Murphy in it. Um, of course you had Wallace Shawn, Jennifer Tilly. This is based on the Disney theme park attraction and stars Eddie Murphy as a realtor who, along with his family, becomes trapped in a haunted mansion. And this movie got a lot of bad raps to it, but I actually have a bit of a soft spot for the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion. I think it's a little bit better than the recent one we just had. But this is actually a pretty fun one. I mean, Eddie Murphy, of course, at the time was really trying to branch out into more like, family fairs, things stuff like Shrek, Daycare, and all. Sometimes they could work, sometimes not. I mean, Norbit, oh yeah, Norbit was terrible. Imagine that. That Words movie he did, Thousand Words. I'm actually looking forward to check out that new one he has, Candy Cane Lane. That actually looks pretty fun. So it's always nice to see Eddie Murphy on screen now. But this actually looks like it could be lots of fun to check out. So hopefully it could be good. I'm talking about Candy Cane Lane. I've seen Haunted Mansion, but yeah, Haunted Mansion is a really fun one if you guys have never seen that. All right. Also, turning 20, we of course got The Cooler, directed by Wayne Kramer. Um, Now this of course stars William H Macy, Maria Bello, and Alec Baldwin. It follows a casino cooler, whose presence at the gambling table usually results in a streak of bad luck for other players. And of course, William H Macy is terrific. I mean, hey, of course, my favorite William H. Macy role is not a film, as obviously when he plays Frank Gallagher on Shameless. I just loved him on that. But it's always nice to see. Of course, this was like before Shameless ever came in on. And William H. Macy had a really cool career, from the likes of like Fargo, Boogie Nights, and he was really good in this. Of course, Alec Baldwin was great. You had Paul Sorvino. Definitely had a bit of like a, Martin Scorsese casino vibe here. If you guys haven't seen The Cooler, it's really decent underrated gem. All right, also turning 20, we got the sci-fi movie Timeline, directed by Richard Donner, who of course gave us Superman and Lethal Weapon. It also features the likes of Paul Walker, Gerard Butler, Anna Friel, and I just realized this past week was also the 10th anniversary of the passing of Paul Walker, so RIP Paul Walker. Now, obviously, whenever you think of Paul Walker, you always think of Fast and Furious, which, hey, that is obviously what he's best known for, playing Brian O'Connor. But he has, appeared in some other stuff outside of the Fast and Furious. I mean, going all the way back to like Pleasantville, Into the Blue. And while this is not like his best work or anything like that outside Fast and Furious, it's not that bad of a sci-fi film. Of course, this is actually based on a book by Micah Crichton, who obviously wrote Jurassic Park, which also got turned into a feature. And if you guys don't know much about the story here, the film concerns of a team of present-day archaeologists and history students who are sent back in time to medieval France to rescue their professor from the medieval battle. and I love the time travel elements. I mean, this actually is a movie I think could really benefit for a TV series. By the way, like I think this could be an interesting series in the future. But of course, Paul Walker, this was like around the time where he was coming off of the Fast and Furious and all, and he was really cool in this. Gerard Butler was great in this. The sci-fi element is good. I mean, if you guys have not seen Timeline, it's not a movie that not many people talk about, but it's actually a pretty decent one. All right, also turning 20, we got Ron Harris' The Missing, which is based on it's actually based on Thomas Edison, not Edison, Edison, 1996 novel The Last Ride. It's directed by Ron Howard, who's always terrific, starring Tom Lee Jones, Kate Blanchett, Eva Rachel Wood. Now, this is about a rancher and a single mother of Maggie Gilson, played by Kate Blanchett, who sees her teen daughter Lily, played by Evan Rachel Wood, kidnapped by Outback rebels. She reluctantly accepts the help of her estranged father Samuel, played by Tom Lee Jones, in tracking down the kidnappers. Along the way, the two must rekindle the past and work together if they are going to have any hopes here. Now, this is, I guess, you could say, a little bit of a western and all, and Tom Lee Jones is great. It's maybe my least favorite Ron Howard film. I mean, Ron Howard's always great, but no, there are some movies that he does not do great with. Like the Da Vinci Code sequels, that Chris Hemsworth whale movie, that Moby Dick movie he did. Um, and this is not like as bad as them, but I just was never too huge with the missing. I mean, Tom Lee Jones was okay, and Kate Blanchett, she's always great. Evan Rachel Wood was great, but yeah, I just found this movie to be a little bit boring here. The best thing about it is obviously the performances, but that's really it, to be honest. Yeah. All right, now other films films turning 30 this week. Not many really stand out, to be honest. So we got Bank Robber, which is pretty much a heist comedy starring Patrick Dempsey, Lisa Bonet, Judge Reinhold, Olivia Diabo, Mariska Hargitay, before Law and Order fame. Mr. Noodle himself, Michael Jeter, was in this. It's always cool seeing R.I.P. Michael Jeter. Now, if you guys don't know much about the story here, this stars Patrick Dempsey, who is a well-dressed banker who decides to do one last heist so he can sail off to a tropical island with his girlfriend Selena, played by Diablo. On his last robbery, he forgets to destroy a surveillance camera. He then must hide into the Heartbreak Hotel until he can get out of trouble. I think I probably only seen this film once when it was on TV, and that's really it. I mean, I really remember too much about it, to be honest. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, I mean, Patrick Dempsey is always great. Like, if, obviously, whenever I think of Patrick Dempsey, most people probably think of McDreamy, but obviously, as a horror nut, I will always think of him as Mark Kincaid from Scream 3. Fingers crossed he comes back for a new Scream. We'll see. Anyway, also turning 30, we got A Dangerous Woman, directed by Stephen Gyllenhaal, who, yes, is actually the father of Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, this movie stars the likes of Deborah Winger, Barbara Hershey, Gabriel Bryan, and it even includes Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie Gyllenhaal, who developed, of course, obviously developed acting careers. I believe this was actually one of their like earliest roles they've appeared in. Um, Now this is also actually directed by Stephen Gyllenhaal and is written by Jake and Maggie's mother, Naomi, who also directed that little underrated movie with Dakota Fanning and Elizabeth Olsen in it called Very Good Good Girls. Now, A Dangerous Woman is actually based on a novel and stars Deborah Winger as Martha Horgan, who is a withdrawn mentally disabled woman who lives with her aunt Frances, played by Barbara Hershey. One of Martha's unusual traits is that she doesn't lie, a quality that leads her to getting fired from a dry cleaning shop. Thanks to the actions of a shady Getzo, played by David Shafarin. Conflict seems to follow Martha since she also becomes romantically involved with Logo Fix-It Man, Maggie, played by Gabriel Bryan, who is also dating Francis as well. So yeah, this is actually not a bad little film. Deborah Winger, obviously she's always terrific. Barbara Hershey is great. I mean, it's a really decent little film worth checking out. So if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But that's pretty much it there. Let me leave you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? To me, the 10-year one obviously will be Frozen. The 20-year one will be A Bad Santa. And the 30-year one is going to be A Dangerous Woman. Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Sammy Simon.